Welcome to the Nicholas 11x12 technology, and welcome to my new concept. Here I am. Right away I'd like to apologize for my poor sound quality. I'm working on it and I'll try to fix it as soon as possible, but for now we'll have to stick with that. Today we're looking at the Enermax iVektor mid-tower case. This one comes in at a fairly low price point, and we'll see how much actually can be offered for such a low price. Before I move on, I'd like to thank Enermax for providing me this product. So thank you. And I guess now it's time to move on to the box. Alright, here's the box. Actually, it's a quite normal box, cardboard box. And right here we have some specifications, but we'll get into detail a little bit later. As for the unboxing, I'll not do the unboxing in front of the camera because this will not look that good actually. So there we go. When it comes to the design, I really quite like it. It looks very clean actually, and still has that kind of modern look to it. However, something that bothers me is that it's a clean side panel. I'd like to see a side panel window, but I'm not sure. I think there is an iVektor version out there that even has an acrylic side panel window. So yeah, that would solve this issue for me. But I got sent this review sample, so we're looking at this model today. The front bezel is rubberized, so that's not bad at all and doesn't feel that cheap actually. Alright, but now let's get to the specifications. The Enermax iVektor is a mid-tower and has a width of 234 millimeters, a height of 508 millimeters, and a depth of 495 millimeters. The standard ATX and micro ATX motherboard form factors are supported. And the case has a net weight of 6.1 kilograms. Now, as you can see, this case comes with three 5¼ inch bays, and this is how you remove them, I guess. Wait a second. Wait. Like that. I don't know, this one, the first one is stuck apparently. But now, well, you see, it's actually out of plastic, but it comes with this rubberized top here. If you can see that or not, I don't know. Looks like that. And yeah, you get three 5¼ inch bays. So I'll quickly insert it back in and you're good to go. Alright, up here we have the power and reset buttons, the fan controller, high, low RPM and medium RPM I believe, two USB 2.0 ports, two super speed USB 3.0 ports, as well as your headphone and microphone inputs. I have to say the front bezel doesn't look bad at all actually, but it's not really my style, but a lot of people actually prefer such designs. This looks very modern actually, I have to admit that. Now, how do we actually remove it? The front bezel right there, let's see. Alright, you just pull on it on the bottom here and it goes off. Now, here you see it comes with a dust filter, unfortunately not removable, but it indeed is cleanable and will keep some dust out of your system. Now on the front, as you can see, there's no chance of mounting a fan, unfortunately. I would have liked to see that, but well, you can't have everything, I guess. The side panel removal is very simple. You just have to unscrew these two thumb screws that are used, just like in most other cases. Then you have this nice handle here that's quite unique actually. Not all manufacturers, well basically not many manufacturers do that. You just pull on it and the side panel should then come off. The quality of the side panel is not the best, but it's just okay, you know. It doesn't have a side panel window unfortunately, but yeah, other than that it's quite solid and it's acceptable. No problems there. Putting it back on is also very simple and it goes like that. Alright, so now let's get to the back of the case. So right here, as you can see, Enermax pre-installed a 120mm fan here. This is also one of the mounting points for up to a 100mm water cooling radiator if you so desire. This is your motherboard I/O spot. Here we have some water cooling holes, very nice, rubber grommets here. Then we have 7 expansion slots, so crossfire or SLI shouldn't be a problem. And here we have some vents. The power supply actually is bottom mounted, so just like we see it on modern cases these days. Alright, so now we'll remove the right side panel. Pull on it and it comes off. It's actually the same side panel we saw on the other side. As you can see, the cables are partially black. I would have liked to see all cables black actually, but at this price point it's totally fine because you can expect to see all black cables and all that good stuff here you would see on more expensive cases actually. As you can see here we have some cable management holes, and specifically this one is really big and I really liked it a lot because most of the time I route my cables through the bottom hole here behind the motherboard tray. So that's very nice of Enermax to do that. Unfortunately there are no rubber grommets, but at this price point that's totally fine I guess. This case comes with a huge CPU cutout hole, so swapping out CPU cooler backplates shouldn't be a problem at all here. Alright, now we are at the main side with the left side panel removed, and this case supports standard ATX and micro ATX motherboards. The motherboard standoffs are pre-installed already, as you can see, and as for the GPUs, you can install pretty much every single graphics card on the market right now because this case supports it. There's no problem when it comes to the length. A toolless drive locking mechanism is used right away, so you don't need to use screws to actually install 5¼ drives, by the way. Alright, so now let's take a look at the included accessories. So mainly what's included are things for the HDD installation, for the rails. I'll quickly take it all out. There's a lot actually. So included are lots and lots of hard drive rail things. I don't know what they're called, but you'll need these to install the HDDs or maybe even SSDs into the case, so make sure you don't lose these. Right, included are cable ties, as you can see, a speaker for the motherboard in case you want your computer to beep. Then we have some screws for water cooling and the motherboard screws here, as well as PSU screws if I'm not mistaken. And of course also a manual for the case, as you can see. So not bad at all that they actually include something like that. This case can hold up to 6 hard drives, and as you can see, the bottom cage here is only for 3.5-inch drives, and this one you can actually choose yourself. You can either go for the 2.5-inch configuration like it is on default, so you can install 2.5-inch drives such as SSDs natively here, and if you run out of place for your 3.5-inch HDDs, for example, you unscrew these screws right here and use these screws here so that you get 3.5-inch instead of 2.5 inches right there. I really like that, but if you have more than 3 HDDs and want an SSD installed as well, you will have to have a SSD bracket that's mostly included with your SSD anyways, so that shouldn't be a problem. But, well, it could have been designed a little bit better, but at this price point, I highly doubt someone will have more than 3 hard drives and an SSD. So that's completely fine, I guess. To install 3.5-inch drives such as this HDD right here, you use these plastic parts right there that come in the accessories box, and you have to watch out for the labels right there. As you can see, it says 3.5-inch on these, and there actually are 2.5-inch versions of these brackets inside as well. So these will be used for SSDs, for example. But since we use a 3.5-inch drive here, we'll have to use the 3.5-inch brackets. You just install these like that, and you're good to go. Then you just slide the HDD into the rails, and you're good to go. That's all you have to do to install an HDD. To install a 2.5-inch drive, such as this SSD, for example, you just use the 2.5-inch versions of these plastic brackets and put them in the holes, just like we did with the HDD. Then you just slide the SSD into the tray, and you're good to go, basically. It's really fast and simple, and I really like how Enermax designed it. It's very fast, and yeah, I just liked it a lot. That's how it should be done. The power supply is bottom mounted, and there are 4 rubber feet that will raise the power supply. Right here are the front panel cables. Right here, right beside the PSU, is a mounting point for a 120mm fan to intake air, for example. And I would recommend doing so because there's no fan in the front that intakes cool air. So I definitely recommend installing a fan here that intakes cool air. To remove the top cover, you will have to remove these 2 screws here on the back. Alright, and then you just push upwards, and the top cover should then come off. It's not very easy to remove, but it will come off eventually. There we go. So right here, as you can see, a dust filter is installed. Unfortunately, not a removable one, but still, it's okay, I guess. Alright, up here, as you can see, there's something special going on. What this basically allows you to do is install up to two 120mm fans. This is also a mounting point for up to a 240mm water cooling radiator. So this will definitely not interfere with the motherboard. And this is a fairly small case actually. So it's good that Enermax has thought of that. So this definitely, for now, I'd call it a more future-proof case than most other cheap cases. And even an enthusiast could use this. Pre-installed is a single 120mm fan. Up here, you can once again install 2 120mm fans and up to a 240mm water cooling radiator. On the bottom of the case, as you can see, we have 4 rubber feet, and here we even have dust filters. Unfortunately, not removable ones, but they're okay. Alright, now I've built everything together, and on the front I've also installed a DVD drive, and that looks pretty good actually, I can't complain. Alright, I've put my high-end components into this case. As you can see, there's absolutely no problem. These components fit easily and everything seems to be tidy. Of course, cable management wasn't that easy, it's not perfect indeed, because the ATX 12-volt power connector can't be routed through the back, but everything else seems to be completely fine. I can't complain here. The SSD and the HDD is also very tidy, and yeah, the whole system makes a tidy impression. And keep in mind the price of this iVektor case. Alright, even on this side, everything seems to be very tidy. Okay, maybe not. Okay, it's a mess, I guess. But still, as you see yourself, you can do cable management. Of course, not the best, but it indeed is possible. You saw yourself, the other side is clean. So this means cable management worked out. And that's definitely visible here. Putting the side panel back on was harder, but it indeed was possible. So there you have it. The Enermax iVektor definitely is not a bad case. It's cheap, therefore doesn't cost a lot, and you can basically put all your high-end stuff in there. So you saw yourself, I could put a 240mm radiator in there without any problems. Of course, you can't install a 280mm or anything higher, but a 240mm radiator is what most people will actually install. But we're talking of enthusiasts here. Most people will go either for a stock cooler or an air CPU cooler. So water cooling is just a bonus we get here at this price. At this low price point, you wouldn't expect a case to be well built. And I have to admit, it isn't really well built, but it is completely acceptable, and there are many case manufacturers out there that build something cheaper, but they charge more. So I really like what Enermax is doing here. Something that I don't like with this Enermax iVektor, but this is just my version, is that there's no side panel window. There's a different version out there with this side panel, but I got sent this one. So that's completely fine. You just go for the other one and you'll get your side panel window. As you saw yourself, long graphics cards are no problem with this case. You can install pretty long graphics cards. And as you saw yourself, my WinForce GTX 780 is a pretty long card actually, and it fitted in the case without any problems. So, wow, I'm quite amazed here because this is a very cheap case actually. The hard drive installation is very easy and pretty much toolless. When it comes to the aesthetics, I have to be honest, it's not something that I like that much because it's not angular enough and it just isn't my taste. But a lot of people actually love something like that, and this is then the right choice. So overall, I'm quite happy with this Enermax iVektor mid-tower case because the price is actually very low and you get more than what you pay for. Pros are good price-performance ratio, then you can fit a lot of components in there, and I really like the HDD toolless installation as well as the 5¼ inch drive installation. As for cons, the only really thing I can mention here is that there are no rubber grommets for the cable management. So, but everything else is okay, I can't complain actually. And therefore, I can definitely recommend this Enermax iVektor case. Of course, I would have liked to see a side panel window, but then again, there is a version out there that has it. So thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and visit nicholas11x12techx.com to see videos there earlier than on YouTube. Thank you.